everything originate from? The core, but even more important, what triggers the core? The hips. The hips is the origin of everything. If you can get into your hips, you can really master a lot of things. This is your ground floor. Okay, so think about it. When your hips goes forward, what happens? Your leg goes forward. Okay, so it's like a piston ready to shoot off. Okay, so you're moving forward, your hip opens up. Then your oblique follows with it. Okay, this triggers the spring action in your core that loads up that rotation that you're about to do when you start pulling. So now you're engaged with your core, right? Then you fall, and because your core is rotated, you get distance, right? We want distance, but we don't want it at a cost of overstretching. Overstretching is something that happens a lot, but we don't want that. So what happens is a lot of people, what they do is they go into their stroke, and instead of rotating into it and being nice and far, they're like here, with no rotation. So in order to compensate for the non-rotation for that distance, all they do is flat forward. At this point, it's called hinging. You're hinging from your lower back, and it's not the power you want. Instead of using 3 engines, you're using 1. Okay? And that's just no good. So you want that core to really get into there, and the only way it gets on is by your hip. So we're at our hip, turn our hip, our core is engaged. We have a nice little stretch. We're not going too far down. Right before the catch, we don't want our elbows and our arms to be too high up. We want them to be nice and low. Okay? Because when we're really high up, we have to really go low. So if we keep it low, we don't have to go as low anymore. We get a catch sooner. And that means we don't have to overstretch. Once our catch is in, we pull and we push. This is a major, major, major part of dragon pose that a lot of people have a hard time understanding. It's the pushing and pulling. We are all used to pulling. Every single one of us. We love to pull. Why? Because we know what's going to happen. But when you push down your paddle, this is when the real game starts. This is when everything changes. What do I mean by pushing? This is pulling. So this is my arm pulling back, and pushing downwards. Okay, so when you touch your blade, you want it to push down onto that paddle, which is very, very important. Okay, with those two things combined, it's glory. You will smoke those other boats like you've never smoked them before. And then when you cross that finish line first, the glory of finishing first is amazing, right? We all know that. We all want that. We don't care who's next to us. We all went in there for a cause. You know, you guys have an amazing cause. But the thing is when it's on that line, it's about something more than that. It's about crossing that line versus a union. Okay? So this is what we're going to be working on. I'm going to break it down in components today. Obviously, this is like years and years of training, but I'm going to introduce you parts of each one. So what I do is I break it down into parts, and I introduce to you so that you understand. And understanding is the key thing. I used to be a tutor in mathematics, and students used to always say, it's okay, just show me how to do it, and I'll just remember it. No. If you remember it, you will not do it right. If you understand it, then you will master your training. It's the same thing in Dragon Boat. You guys, a lot of other people, whenever they're introduced to new things, what do? They try to remember what their coach tells them. They don't try to understand it. And understanding is the key component of any winner. Okay? Once you understand your trade, you will excel in your trade. Alright? So the first, what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to sit on the other side. I'm also going to sit here. I'm an anti-paddler, so it doesn't matter. So if you don't get it, I'll sit on the left as well. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do drills. Okay, because that's what we do. If I had you for a year, it would be a lot better. But the thing is now we're going to do drills with you so you understand each movement that I'm talking about. So the first drill is the origin of paddling, which is in the sense of like what we need to get our ground floor going, and it's our hips, right? I'm going to take your space for a second. Or actually I'll take yours because it's... Okay, so what we're looking for is a lot of you, what you do is you're going forward, which is fine. You're going forward, okay? This is fine. This is exactly what you need to be doing. The thing is when you're going forward, we're adding a movement to the paddle. And it's hard. We want to minimize the amount that you have to do so you can focus on what we're trying to work on. So what I have you doing right now is instead of going forward, you're not going to go forward. You're going to move your hip. And you're just going to. So you're going to move this hip forward. And all it is, the only way you're going to be able to get distance is by moving your hip. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see any of this bobbling back and forth. I want you to put down your arms and move your hip forward. Just moving your hip forward, moving your hip forward. We're going to work on that for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to go to the next step. Sounds good? So what's the major component? Hips. Hips, hips, hips. You just want to be working those hips back and forth. Now, this one is your stabilizer, and this one is your piston. Your stabilizer, stabilizes. It doesn't move. It stays in one place. It does not, it's locked in, ready to rock it the whole way through. This one, it goes in and it pushes off. But it doesn't push off entirely. It doesn't want to lock in. You don't want a locked knee. You just want to push off a little bit, push off a little bit, push off a little bit. Super important. Okay, so pushing it off just a little bit. So you go in, push off a little, in, push off a little bit. And this movement here, look, everything happens. My oblique is moving, my legs, my hips. I'm opening up. See? Opening up, opening up, opening up. Okay? And make sure that you use the railing here as like a railway track. You don't want to go off of it. You don't want your body to go to the side. You want it to follow this railing. Sounds good? All right, let's do it. Your lats. Okay? What happens when your lats are not engaged? It's another engine that you're removing from the equation, which is not good. Your lat is a huge muscle. It's bigger than your bicep. You might not feel it right now. It might not be as developed, but it's a muscle that develops very, very quickly, especially if you're doing it right. So you want to keep that. So let's say this is my top arm, this is my bottom arm. Keep that shoulder low. Really dig into it. Make sure you're engaging that lat. You can try this later. If you lock down your shoulder like this and you engage your lat, you can feel it. And once you lift your shoulder up, it disengages. And if it's disengaged, there's no more. You're not using it anymore. So keep it low. Also, I want you to hold your paddles a little higher. So this is, right now you guys are really close to here. I want about a fist. Okay? Sounds good? All right, let's do another minute, guys. Paddles up. Don't tease the water. It did nothing to you. All right? Don't be a tease. All right? Put that paddle all the way in. All right? Hold it higher. Some of you are still holding it at its base. Hold it a little higher. Okay? If you want that extra little angle that you can get from holding it a bit higher. Now, let's not exaggerate. All right? A lot of people I see sometimes when I coach them, they're holding it here. This is absurd. Okay, so let's be realistic. It's about here. It's anywhere between a fist and a little bit. So a fist and a finger. Okay, so let's remember that. Now, by doing this, we were nice and deep into our stroke, which is a lot better. We're catching more water. Okay, but now what I want you to fix is your top arms. A lot of you are holding your top arms really high and really engaged into your ear. If you can feel your heart rate in your ear, because you're holding it too close, that means it's too high. Lower it down. Okay? Lower it down and open yourself up. Okay? There's no point in going up high like this. Lower down and keep it low. You will see, you will hit the water sooner and you'll have a more positive angle. Let's do that again. Alright? Same movement, but with that little modification in there. Paddles up. That first thing seems like it's about 10 years away. Okay? And that's the problem with coaching. Okay? So you never want to work on more than one thing at a time. Ever. It's counterproductive. I'm sure some of you are saying, that's bullshit. I'm a woman. I can do two. Okay? I assure you. Yes? A visual?
Yeah, like eye level.
That's good. Let me demonstrate it for you how I want it, what I would like to see. I'll take my spot. I'll just take your Okay, so So look guys, a lot of you are holding it high like this, okay? Or like this, you're really like, you're lifting your shoulder, lower it down. Look, see what just happened?
Yeah.
Look how low it is. Look how much I have to travel before it goes in, as opposed to if I'm holding it like this. Look, for me to go in fully, I have to go like this. See? I'm really stretched out. This is me holding it really high. But look, I'll lower it down, and look what happens. Look at this. Look at my comfort. What's that? I have about, I don't know, half a foot between my armpit, when before, when it was higher, I had very discomforting feeling. Okay? That's what I mean. Holding your shoulder lower is just like this. And what happens is that more power. Way more power. You really engage into that power. The chest is another motor that we'll be focusing on later, but that's to come. Okay? But that's a good question. So nice low shoulder. Okay? A lot of you too are doing this. Pulling like this. So you're one of them. Okay? You want to just make sure that your arm is straighter down. Just keep that arm straight. Come out to the side.